Gets the 1-2, but Bennett scores! It's 4-2!
Lee, Kelly will be looking to time his run. Robert Lee. Free kick against Bennett without.
So, I'm here with Sunderland legend and former captain, must I say, Gary Bennett. Gary, how are you today?
Not bad, thank you. Been better, a bit tired, but that's due to work.
Obviously, you started your career and you were born in Manchester. So I just want to ask you, what got you into football growing up on the streets of Manchester around the 1960s?
I think it's a sport which everybody wants to get involved in, especially boys. And I followed in my brother's footsteps. He was also a professional footballer at Manchester City. And I wanted to go down the, shall we say, the same pathway. Obviously, Manchester United and Manchester City were two huge clubs. They had a lot of good players who played for both clubs. Obviously, Manchester United had the likes of Dennis Law, George Best, Bobby Charlton. And Manchester City also had the likes of Francis Lee, Dennis Stewart, who's also played there, Colin Bell, and everybody wanted to obviously idolise them and wanted to follow in their footsteps.
I wanted to ask, as a man who's never got to experience the iconic roar of Roker Park, I was only born in 2003, so how did the two grounds differ? Like, what was the transition period like between moving from Roker Park, such an iconic English stadium, to something modern like the Stadium of Light?
Well, you look at Roker Park, obviously, it's deep in history. It's iconic, shall we say, Roker Park, especially a night game. It's famous for the Roker Roar, which, was unbelievable. Put the hairs on the back of your neck when you played in a night game on a freezing night and the supporters get right behind you. But again, it's maybe the standing situation played a big part as well to the atmosphere at Roker Park, which is totally different to the Stadium of Light. You're looking at the Stadium of Light, which is a 48,000 all-seater stadium. They've been trying to get that sort of Roker Roar or the atmosphere at the Stadium of Light. But no, there's nothing what can beat a night game at Roker Park. You don't actually need to be in the stadium. You could be on the seafront and you could hear the roar. That's just before a game, before a ball is kicked.
You've obviously still work with each other today at BBC Newcastle. You were at Darlington together as well. I'd just like to know, what's it like sharing a dressing room with a talent that is Marco Gabbiadini?
And goes Gabbiadini! It's a thrilling goal for Sunderland!
You want the good points or the bad points? No. Again, Marco, a fantastic player. He came from York, very unknown. Nobody knew about him. I didn't know nothing about him as well. It was a signing from Dennis Smith, who was rebuilding the team at the time. He brought in some good players like John McPhail, John Kay came in. We had Kevin Ball who came in. So he was a little bit of an unknown. Marco Gabbiadini, but he was a very exciting player. He had everything. He was very good in the air. He was quick, and he could score goals out of nothing. And that partnership which he was able to form with Eric Gates, was fantastic. The so-called G-Force, it was called then. And you've got to say that they played a big part, obviously, in Sunderland getting promotion.
I wanted to slightly touch upon a very iconic moment for a lot of Sunderland fans that involves you. I wanted to talk about a certain incident with David Speedie.
Chase out. Free kick against Bennett without. And off the touchline and into the ground goes David Speedie. And there really is no need for this.
Yeah, it's a very infamous moment at the time, and also now you look back at it, and as well, for me, it was just one of them where, okay, it was a reaction from myself, but you've just mentioned that it's an iconic moment for Sunderland supporters, myself, and that's something which is always brought up. I think the clock stand itself only held 8,000, but I've had about 28,000 people who said they were there, who was in the clock stand. So, yeah, it's one of them iconic moments. What happened? Obviously, the incident, what happened at the time. I was just coming back from an injury. I just passed the fitness test. It was a night game. and David Speedie, who I've had a little bit of history with, went over the top. He caught me on the knee, and it was just a case of just losing the plot a little bit.
Lastly, you played in 2 notable cup finals for Sunderland, unfortunately losing both. So how good does it feel? Sorry about that.
It's okay, get that in.
How good does it feel knowing that not only the silverware drought, but also the Wembley hoodoo is over for this club?
To turn this ship around and get it pointing in the right direction, but there are signs that they're on the right course.
Yeah, I think it's huge. It's huge. You know, unfortunately, the only time I didn't get there in the last 8 occasions, obviously with the lockdown, to go and win at Wembley. And I think, you know, obviously there's a lot of supporters who would love to have been there. But yeah, you know, hopefully this is the start of things. Hopefully the next time we are at Wembley, we can go and win again. But we all know that, you know, Sunderland at Wembley, we all know that it's going to be well supported. You know that we're going to bring at least 30,000-40,000 to Wembley and make a weekend of it. It's great. I think it's every player's dream. I think it's every supporter's dream as well to see your team walk out at Wembley. You know, as you're growing up, you know, you want to obviously play professional football. You want to play at the highest standard. You want to be involved in the big games, play against the big teams. You want to play at Wembley. These are all the things which you do dream about as a young person. So to go and obviously walk out at Wembley representing your club, you know, I had the privilege of captain at Wembley. So, you know, that is huge, you know, and you know, that's something which you can't take away from myself, but also playing at Wembley in front of, you know, thousands and thousands of people is a highlight in your career, which, you know, nobody can take back.
Gary, thank you so much for spending some time with us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Been a pleasure. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Davenport, Bennett, goal for Sunderland.